Welcome to the channel. We are working on my 2007 GT500 and we're just going to be doing some basic maintenance, which is just an oil change. This is the car and I'm going to be running good old amsoil 5W50. This guide that I'm using right now that I'm going to be doing with the car is good for any Mustang GT or GT500. Just make sure you use the appropriate oil type. I believe it's 20W30 is what it's, or 5W30 is what's used in the GTs. However, don't quote me on that. Check your owner's manual, check your oil cap, make sure you know what you're doing before you go ahead and shove it in. Like I was saying, so I'm gonna be running amsoil. I like it. I haven't had any issues with it. I've run it for a couple of years now. However, I will say, don't get caught up too much in the oil hype. What matters is that you're changing it and often and regularly, not so much the exact type of oil you use. There are people that run the OEM Motorcraft oil and have had zero issues. So I like amsoil. However, as long as you're doing frequent oil changes, you shouldn't have a problem. So I've already gone ahead and taken the liberty of jacking up the car. I did also warm up the car prior. It is a good idea to warm up your vehicle before changing the oil to make sure all the sludge, anything that's sat, is rotated throughout the oil a little bit and it's fresh in there. So when it comes out, it'll most likely drain out with the old oil and not be stuck in valley covers or in little baffle runners and whatnot like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and crack this thing open and start working. The tools you're going to need are very simple: a ratchet, socket, a torque wrench if you want to be particular about ratcheting it back down, some rags, a catch pan, and of course your oil. So let's get started. Underneath the car, as you can see, I have it jacked up and propped up. Jack stands, something to be aware of if you are curious about the proper ways to jack up and where to mount jack stands on your Mustang. Go ahead and check out the video card that just popped up and come on back to this one. The oil drain pan bolt is a 16 millimeter. All we're going to go ahead and do is loosen that up, and then I'll show you a little trick. I'll show you a trick to try and hopefully make sure you don't drip too much oil on yourself or on other things. So mine seems to be binding up just a little. So the trick is to get this out and not spill too much oil is to apply pressure towards the oil pan on your bolt, and that will keep it at a small flow like it is right now. And then once you're ready, you go ahead and have it completely loose. And just go ahead and remove the oil pan like that. There you go. So I'm gonna go wash off my bolt real quick, fingers, and go ahead and let this oil drain out. Okay, so now that it's down to just about a little trickle like this, we're gonna go ahead and rethread in our bolt. You can let it drain out all the way, but it's not really gonna matter. It's just a very small amount of oil in the bottom of the pan at this point. Just gonna go ahead and twist it in. So once it's in, the torque spec, don't actually snug it down too much. The torque spec is only 18 foot-pounds, and that's all we're gonna go ahead and crank it to. There we have it. So that part is done. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and pop out the oil filter. The oil filter on this car, looking at this where the drain plug is located right here. On your other Mustangs, I believe they're located up in this front area of the motor. However, on the GT500, it's located right there. I'm just running a regular Motorcraft oil filter right here. The one that was on it prior is an amsoil oil filter, but I figured I already have a Motorcraft on hand, so I'm just gonna go ahead and run that one. So unfortunately, the oil filter removal is always a messy business. If you wanna help out, do yourself a favor and only put it on hand tight. As you can see, mine was hand tight. It hasn't leaked, so don't worry about trying to snug this thing down too much. All you gotta do is loosen it up, and there's gonna be some oil that's gonna pour out. Just go ahead and let that drain. And once it's done draining, you're gonna go ahead and reach up, remove the filter, and stick it in the drain pan. Now that your oil filter is removed, you wanna make sure that the gasket is no longer attached up there, and as you can see, mine is clean. Then we're gonna go ahead and take the new filter. Just dab a little bit of oil around the front. You can use new or used oil, it really doesn't matter. You just wanna get that gasket a little bit damp like so, and then just go ahead and twist it on up there by hand, hand tight. So when it comes to putting on filters, sometimes people like to pre-fill them. This filter is a relatively small one, so it shouldn't take more than a second or two for the oil to fill it up as soon as you turn the vehicle on. However, on vehicles like my truck, which have about a 1 quart oil filter, you do want to fill those up by hand because that's a long time for oil to be flowing without it actually getting to the rest of the oil system while the engine is on. So now we go and wipe this area down. That concludes everything underneath the car that we need to do to change the oil. On top of the car, we're going to go ahead and do is pop off our oil cap. If you have a GT500, you'll notice that there is a weird baffle in here. Just keeps, I don't know, just the way the design is. Alrighty, and we go ahead and pour them all in. All right, 6.5 quarts later for my car. I think it's 6 for just the regular GT. And we're done. Let's go ahead and pop our oil cap back on. And I'm OCD, so I like to make sure it's straight like that. Should be good. And yeah, there we go. Let's go ahead and take it off jack stands, start it up, see how it sounds. We'll call it good. I do have something I want to talk to you guys that are subscribers that care about this stuff after we go ahead and get it down to the ground. Alrighty, well, hood's down, swapped over to the drag pack. Those of you with a keener eye will have noticed that. And let's go ahead and get you guys a cold start real quick. Sounding pretty good, can't argue there. Alright, so the plan for the reason why the drag pack's on and everything is we're trying to go ahead and get to the track pretty soon here. It's been a while. I've taken some time off from drag racing and whatnot. And you know what? I think it's time we got back into it. We got these perfectly good drag pack wheels. We got the rear end diff and diff situated. Like, I think it's ready to go. So kind of what my plan is from here, I want to take it to the test and tune session to see how everything is with the sway bar removed, mess around with the shocks a little bit more. And then I went ahead and picked up some more Torco octane booster. And I think what we're going to go ahead and do is swap down to the smaller pulley after this test and tune to see how everything goes. We're not doing the 2.4. That's a little bit too spicy for my blood. That'll put it a little bit above where I'm comfortable with. But going from the 3-inch to the 2.7 should get me a little bit more horsepower. So I'm hoping that for, like, I don't know, maybe 730 would be pretty sweet. And we'll see what we can do. So without further ado, guys, that's kind of the plan. Hope everything is going well with you all. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy. Old girl's looking real good. Got to clean up the drag pack though. They've been sitting out in the elements for a little bit, a little dirty.